I have teased this, and it is happening. But it's happening earlier than expected. You know, many people, they came to me and they said, when is the Spook6ular? When is it happening? Well, the answer is it's happening right now. We are going to be reviewing the first horror movie of the celebration, multi-month. I'm starting in September. Horror movie, and that one is A Nightmare on Elm Street. So I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street last night. My goal is to watch 50 horror films this year, so I'm starting in September. And the first of the 50 that I'm planning on watching is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Got really fucking high yesterday, which is just my daily, that's what I do. And I was like, you know what? Let's start it. It's happening. And we're starting it. It's the goddamn Spook6ular, folks. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm planning on watching every single movie in the franchise. I don't know if I'm going to watch them all, like, in a row. I'm not sure of that yet. But I will be watching all of them in the franchise for this year's celebration. And, you got to start with the first one, of course, right? I could watch them out of order, but I'm not. You got to start with the first one, and the first one is, well, it's the first one. Anyway, this movie's a banger, right? It's the perfect, I have this Max dog look at me. Hi, Max. It's got the perfect level of, like, 1980s super cheese, right? Where, like, all the acting is just, like, it's 1980s horror movie acting, and it's really hilarious. Like, I just love the main character. Like, the way she acts is genuinely horrifying. Like, I don't know what's more horrifying, Freddy Krueger or the acting in this movie. Look at that dog. Oh my god. Anyway, like, just the way that she tries to, like, talk to people. It's like, why don't you believe me? And I love one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when they go to, like, the sleep specialist, right? And the sleep specialist, like, they know that there's something wrong. They've never seen it before, right? She freaks out. All the specialists are freaked out. Then she goes home, and her mom and dad still don't think there's anything wrong. Like, hello? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I just gotta say, as someone that loves the concept of dreaming, the dream world and stuff like that, I love being in my dreams. I love doing stuff in my dreams, right? And so this is why this is one of my favorite horror franchises. Because, you got, like, Friday the 13th, it's a slasher. Halloween, it's a slasher, right? Like, Scream, it's a slasher. Maybe you got some other interesting ones, like Candyman, but ultimately it's still just a slasher, right? But, like, A Nightmare on Elm Street's a really interesting one, because most of the shit happens in the dream world. And one of the things that I really love about this movie and this franchise is that the way that they transition from the dream world to the waking world to back to the dream world, right? You never really know where they are, right? Like, because every once in a while, like, and then, of course, because the main character stays up for, like, a week and doesn't, like, sleep much more than 10 minutes for, a whole week, right? Then she starts falling asleep randomly, right? You don't know, is she hallucinating? Did she fall asleep, right? I just love that kind of thing. It's just really good. And then, of course, you have the story of Freddy Krueger, who, like, apparently her mom, like, burned him alive because he was, like, a child murderer or something. But then he comes back in the dreams, of course, That's cool shit. I just love this movie. I love every single one of these movies. I've never actually seen the remake. I will be honest. I've never seen the remake. Are there 2 remakes or 1 remake? I don't know how many remakes there are. But I will be watching them. I'm going to be watching every single A Nightmare on Elm Street film, including Freddy vs. Jason. I might also delve into Friday the 13th this year. I'm not sure if I'll save that for next year. It's been a while since I've watched all of those. But we'll see. But anyway, again, like, back to this movie. Like, one of my favorite scenes as well is when, like, the guy gets hanged in the jail cell. Like, I just love the effects in this movie. They're all really good. Like, I think that was done, like, with just, like, pulling the thing and playing it in reverse or some shit. But there's so many effects. Like, the one part where the neighbor kid gets like they fall into the bed and then like just they turn into like mushy liquid blood and it like flings to the ceiling and shit. Damn, I mean, that is good shit. This is a good ass movie. That fucking scene when the blood is like shooting out into the ceiling. Wow. I mean, wow. It is crazy fucking shit. I love it. The effects in this movie are great. When Freddy is like coming out of the ceiling, right? And you can see, oh, it's all so excellent. It's just so excellent. I mean, this is definitely, for me, like, when you talk about, like, the classic, like, you know, there's 19 trillion sequels horror movie franchises. This one, to me, this is the one I compare the rest of them to. This one is just great. I just think it's wonderful. I love just, like, when she's going in and out of the dream world, how, like, she tries to develop the skill of lucid dreaming. And it's just great. And that's the thing, is, like, I enjoy lucid dreaming. That's one of my favorite pastimes. For me, like, what kind of really started my interest in that was A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but we'll be getting into 3 in the future. But 3 is my personal favorite, which is the Dream Warriors one. But, you know, again, I'm going to be watching them in chronological order. But anyway, I mean, they're just great. This is a great franchise. My opinion, it starts strong. And most of the sequels are good. I love how Freddy is, like, so jokey. One of my other favorite scenes are when Freddy's arms are like really long and shit. I just love it. It's so cheesy. It's so good. The acting is so cheesy. It's so good, right? Like, the effects are just really gruesome, and it's just a great movie. It's just great. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, I honestly think you're kind of a fucking dumbass, personally, but that's just me. Anyway, that is the first movie review of the annual Spooktacular series. This one is entitled The Spook6ular. And I'll be going through all of them. I don't know if I'm going to watch them all in an order. My plan is I've got a couple of franchises that I'm going to go through this year. But I also want to pepper in some random new movies, right? Like stuff I've never heard of or stuff that's coming out new. That, you know, this year or maybe last couple of years or stuff, like, you know, because I love the classic horror. I love classic horror, but also I don't watch enough of the new stuff. So I'm going to be mixing and matching. I plan on watching 50 films this year. So I'm going to be going pretty much every day until we hit number 50. Also, I should say that on my twitch.tv channel, I will be streaming some horror games. I'm not going to start streaming the horror games until probably later this month or early October. But I will be playing some of the Silent Hill games, the Resident Evils, a couple other things that I'm not going to talk about. So if anyone wants to watch me do some horror game playthroughs, that's going to be an option. But we're starting off a little early this year in September. Last year I had like a bunch of family health issue emergencies, so I didn't actually get to do what I wanted to do fully last year. So I'm making up for that and starting early this year. And part of this is, again, going through 50 films, some classics, some new ones. I'm kind of, you know, I got like a short list. I've got like a short list, and then I also just want to, every once in a while, like, pop something on I've never heard of. You know what I mean? Go from there. But again, I had to start. I was thinking, like, what movie is a good movie to start with? Well, I think A Nightmare on Elm Street, probably, because it's one of my favorites. So again, if you want to watch along with me, feel free. If you want to watch like both A Nightmare on Elm Street and 2, because tonight I'm going to watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and then I'll talk about that tomorrow morning. So if anyone wants to watch along, feel free to do so. Maybe I'll do a thing where, you know, for the franchises, I'll let you know a day in advance. Just throwing that out there, maybe. But A Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, it's just, every scene is a classic. You know, the ending when they get in the car and it's a convertible, but then the hood comes up, you know, and it's the red and green, like, shit. Oh, man. I watched this shit on HBO. I think HBO has every single one of these except for 4. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to rent that somewhere else. I might buy, like, a Blu-ray set. I'm not sure. But anyway. I mean, it's just, my God, you know? the classic. Because that's the thing. At the end of the movie, it kind of like, you know, it kind of like resets itself. Like, was the whole movie a dream? Is the whole thing a dream? Is it not a dream? Or is she dreaming that everything's normal and Freddy's still chasing her? What is it? Is her mom really dead? Who's alive? Who's dead? Are these, like, I love it. I love the thing about this series is the like, you know, again, the dream stuff, which in my opinion, in movies in general, film and media in general, I think dream stuff is super underutilized. It's one of the coolest features of being a human. I think being a human, right, dreaming, pretty up there. If you ask the top 10 features of human beings, dreaming, maybe even number one. It's just so cool. What the fuck? We get to make up our own universes. But anyway, like, I love this series. I love this franchise because it does fuck around. It makes you question reality. Is this real? Or is this a dream? Are we in the real world? Is that actually, are these characters alive? Are they dead? Who knows? And it's just, it's great. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street, folks. If you want to watch along, I will be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 tonight, so feel free to watch both of them and catch up. But once again, I will be, until I do 50 of these, doing one of these per day. So, there you go, folks. It's the goddamn Spook6ular, and it's here. So, there you go. Anyway, that's my show for today. That's all I got.